All right, so let's talk about tribalism and Nigerian marriages, right? Babe, I want to talk to you first about this, right? The whole topic about tribalism, people always think that the whole push against tribalism is just all about, they think it's just all about politics. No, it's not just politics. It shows up in every area of our lives. It shows up in marriages too, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to go ahead and share some of your experiences with how this showed up. I'll give you a hint, right? I'm from the United States of Olodumare. It's called Usho. It's between Akure local government and our local government area, okay, in Ondo State, Nigeria. Or you can also say United States of Ondo. She's from Egba by way of Lagos. She's a Lagos girl, right?
My dad.
So
My dad is Abeokuta. My mom is Abeokuta.
right.
My
So
mom was
your
born
mom
and
is
raised in Lagos.
Lagos,
My
and you're
dad
born and
is
raised.
I'm born and raised in Lagos.
Right.
My dad was born and raised in Abeokuta.
Right.
So my dad sometimes he acts like a village boy,
Right.
but my mom balances it out really good.
Right. So now, when I decided that you were the person I'm gonna marry,
Right.
it was a decision. It wasn't me asking anybody for permission. I don't believe in that. If a man is asking for permission from his family, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's okay if he wants his family to be okay with you, but he kind of has to be strong about the idea of this wife first already. He's basically selling, not necessarily asking for permission, right? That's how I like it, because
Right.
for a man to be able to sustain a family, he needs to be in that space in his head where he's not asking his mother for permission. A lot of men are like, oh, my mother wasn't happy. I was like, why are you trying to approach marriage in the first place? Why are you trying to do marriage if you're still asking your mother for anyway? That's besides. So when I said that, as a matter of fact, I told them this is my girl. This is the person I'm marrying, right? And there were some rhetorics that I was completely naive about. So imagine that I was very naive at that time. That they didn't say to your face, but I shared with you in the spirit of I'm gisting my girl,
Yeah.
right? Some of those things has to do with Aomegba, certain things, right?
That they do.
What did that make you feel like?
Well,
Now,
first of all, I wanted to
is
say
that tribalism in your opinion? Is that element of
That's not-
tribalism in that?
To be honest, because we're still one Yoruba, it's so
We're still
weird.
one Yoruba, so inside of the same Yoruba.
Inside the Yoruba,
Okay.
there's still, and this is why I like to say these are human nature issues.
Yeah.
I don't care where you go. There's
Yeah.
always stereotype.
Yep.
And the fact that we're both Yoruba and we speak
Come closer to
Yoruba, I don't understand Akure when you speak some things, but I guess I can pick a little.
You can
few
pick it. It's
things.
just dialect. Yes.
But me hearing that Egba women lord over their husbands, like they were silly things. They were things that I've never heard in my life, and I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And Akure to Abeokuta is how many hours? Wait.
I have no idea.
They say Lagos people are overly exposed.
2.5 hours.
They say we're overly exposed in Lagos. Another issue, babe. To be honest, my family is also Muslim. My dad and my mom are Muslim. But my dad is a liberal Muslim. Like, the guy, I've been going to church as a teenager because my father doesn't care if I'm a Christian or a Muslim.
Right.
He gave us the freedom to do whatever we wanted. And I found my way to Christianity because I could not find myself praying 7 times a day.
Right.
And I still wanted to be connected to God in some way. So my lazy, and I like to say I'm lazy a little bit. My lazy way out was just saying, I'm going to go to church and let me see what they do in church. I went to Redeem. I found out I liked it and I became a Christian. And my dad never ever said, why are you a Christian? He even married me in a church. But I had issues with my in-laws because I wasn't from Akure. I wasn't an SU. I wear jewelry. Maybe the way I dress is a little bit too flashy. So many, many things that they complained about. I think when my dad gave a list of, how in Nigerian marriages, they give you a list for engagement. So one of the things on our list was Atari, and I think Obi. My in-laws were triggered. They were like, Atari, like Atari is supposed to be something demonic. Like everything was literally picked on. But that comes again from when people don't accept you in a marriage. That's when they pick on everything. And I've heard something. They say if there is love, right? If there's love between people, 10 people can sleep in one room, operate in one room without being, triggered or anything. But if you don't like somebody, or you feel some type of way about where they're coming from, you will give every excuse to not want to see them at all. Yeah. And I think that was the,
right.
That was the issue we had in the beginning.
That in terms of feeling, something I did not know until 8 years later.
Oh, so you told me everything.
I told you everything. But in terms of how you felt about these things and nursing them inside of you for 8 years.
It was inside of me. And I'm also the type of person that I'm no more a bad communicator, but right. I was a bad communicator. So when Ola told me these things, I put them in my mind. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at these people like, yo, so you don't like me.
You didn't feel like they like you.
I didn't do anything to you. Right. Like, wait, and then you say you're Christians? Like, I would say literally, they stood no chance after that because I felt like it's useless.
Like if they don't like you, what's the point?
They don't like me. Why do I
Even
have
though
to
you
keep
stayed
that?
in it for another 8 years.
I stayed in it because I felt like our relationship, your loyalty and your love for me would sustain us. Mm. But after a while, we hit a stumbling block.
So when everything has started to break down, you start to pull these things out of the woodworks.
Yes.
Oh, see, that's what this means. Start to correlate in your mind, right?
Yes, it made sense. And this is why sometimes, even though I'm a big advocate of, put your feet down, go for what you like. Mm-hmm. Again, for women, I would love for whatever marriage you're in, for you to be accepted all the way. Because if not, you're going to get the shorter end of the stick, especially when the guy starts to misbehave. You might not be lucky enough to find, I was lucky to have you to fight for me and stand for me. After a while, some men, they give in.
Yeah, because if you start to show certain behaviors, right? Mm-hmm.
You said my mother said
and it starts to rub me up the wrong way too. Yeah. I would start interpreting the same type of interpretation. I would say like, maybe they saw something. Right. They were right all along too.
Forgetting that these things will happen anyway.
Yeah. So the whole point of this for me, before I go to Brother Patrick and Sister Embassy, is this. You have to understand that this shows up in your personal life as well. This whole tribalism. And oftentimes we act like it's people being wicked. It's deeply rooted. Right? When somebody says, I want more, bye, it's called stereotypes. Right? I just want to give you an example, even in the same trial, how much more when you're going outside of the same tribe, right? Or you go into another country, or you're going to another religion, right?
It's real.
It's like, I just want you to be aware that if you have a tendency to go in the direction is that somebody is just wicked because they show certain behaviors, you cannot learn anything about life. You will just keep punishing yourself, because that same behavior you're running away from by blaming people, by pointing fingers, will show up even inside of your own household at some point, and you never really learn how to deal with it. Right? So that's why I wanted to talk about this, that even inside of the same tribe, the same behavior showed up, and it was kept in there as resentment, like inside cooler. It was too hot. Yeah. When the life events start to happen, and all those things at the back of your mind, you start to align it together. It's now you start to make sense out of something that's not really relevant in the first place, but it becomes real life. It becomes life, right?
It does.
And then it will take over, and it can absolutely destroy your marriage. Absolutely. And no, you were not wrong all along. You were just trying to be a human being. Who wants to not be liked by their in-laws?
Oh, who doesn't want to be
liked? Who wants to be with a wife who is nagging over and over? Who started nagging 8 years later about my mother, right? But when you don't have wisdom, you will just be like, no, she's just wicked. Why is she coming up with that stuff from 8 years ago? Or she'll be like, yeah, I know it. These people are, yeah, Awara okay. Awara on those states.
Okay.
If you don't calm down and really start to dig in a little bit deeper than your surface level common sense nonsense BS, you will find yourself in the court of law all the time, fighting for your life, you know. But yes, that's what I wanted to bring out of this. What are your thoughts around this, Sister Embassy? Let's go to you first, and then we'll go to Brother Patrick.
So I Lola, I am the village girl, okay? Yeah, like I grew up in the BVD village, okay?
Oh, okay.
My
On the
ex,
on the east
my ex,
on the east side, right? East side of Nigeria.
right,
Okay.
right. My ex is city boy, okay?
Mm,
We are from different states,
mm,
right? And I remember, like, when I was a student, when I was in school, that I would go before we met. I would go to his state. I never liked it there. His city, because I'm such a village girl. I don't like when it's crowded. I don't like when it's too much.
mm-hmm.
That mentality of me will not allow me to just relate to that city for whatever reason. But here we were. I end up married to this person from this particular city that I didn't like.
You didn't
So
like the city.
I mean, you can imagine. I don't even know what I was doing, right? But my in-laws they were great people. We never
Uh-huh.
had the issue of you are this or that, right? We never.
Wow.
My
Mm-hmm.
mother-in-law was superb of a mother, right?
Mm,
But like between me and him, for me, there was discrepancy of our mentality of the way we grew up. Him as a city boy, me as a village girl. That sometimes it would show up as an attack in some way that I would be so mad and
yeah.
like you don't get it, and he would say I don't get it, and it was just too much.
Mm,
And
Oh.
yeah, that's a real thing. That is a real thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's real. It's real. It's deeply rooted. Your best chances of getting through a marriage, because a lot of people are getting together and getting married anyway across religions, across
Yeah.
culture. They're gonna do it anyway because Kerewa is nobody's mate, right? Your best chances of surviving it is to
Yes.
don't start pointing fingers like that person is just being wicked. If that's your first angle, you will destroy it. And
I mean,
you're not different from us. It's just you chose to go that route.
right. And there are some things that he would do that I'll be like, oh, what a city boy this boy is. Like, man, this is, you know, um, and there are some things that I would do
They're like
that he
they're
will look at,
Agbero. The city people are Agbero,
right.
touts.
It's something, that he will look at me like, oh, like, Omoloke, something like that. Like, which
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't bother me because I am Omoloke, right? But,
Right.
It bothered me. Oh, the first time I heard that, I was
Wait,
triggered.
bothered you?
no,
No,
Oh,
not
I
from
love
you.
it.
It came from her mother. The
she
first
said
time she
no.
said
She
it,
said Ondo people want to sort
oh, it was
Ondo and Lagidi.
I
It's
had
a
never heard it
stereotype.
before.
He's never heard it before.
I had never heard it before. I
Oh,
was
wow.
triggered.
He was triggered. He said, "What does mommy mean?" Like, oh, you never
Yeah.
heard
I
that
was like, what is he
before?
talking about? I'm like, what? Anyway, I wish I know what I know now. I wouldn't have taken an offense to it. I was like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
stereotypes. It's terrible.
Stereotypes.
And it destroyed things. I hate tribalism so much that that's why I don't get into. I'm talking about politics, talking about even between racism, all that stuff, because I
Yeah.
know how we
It's
human
deep.
beings are.
Yeah.
It's human
It's deeper than
nature.
getting me and you arguing, and then we're now slobbing saliva all over our mouth. We're angry at each other, and we can. It's deeper than that.
It's very, very
Yeah,
deep.
the enemies are watching you. They're happy, if you want to look at it that way. When it comes to politics, But Brother Patrick, sir.
Wow, that's a wonderful topic. So I can Mbasi speak Yoruba too. That's good.
I am Yoruba.
Oh,
Yoruba.
Oh, you're Yoruba. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I'm
In
from
wow.
my
Kwara
head,
State.
I thought you were maybe.
Kwara State.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kwara State.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, I was brought up in I was born in Lagos.
Uh-huh.
My dad is Edo and my mom is Igbo,
Wow.
It's that type
You're
of
the poster poster child of
Poster
what we're
child.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
No, she's a dental Igbo, but she's school in interior Igbo, so she speaks Igbo fluently. All those hard Igbo. So even like I was saying during the Civil War, yeah, when the Igbos were living, they used we kept all their belongings there. After the war, they came back and my mother is known as Mama Igbo. You know, even though I was born in Lagos, I grew up in Lagos. You know the way they would throw it at your face, or my put a mom on me. Yes, and they would tell you,
wow,
yes, these people
Terrible.
they eat people. Igbo.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yes, the Yoruba don't know the difference between Edo and Igbos. Yes, and
wow.
eventually I got married to a Yoruba. She's from Ekiti. Through the church, and you know the way God orchestrated everything. I think I've said it. You know, the first church I was posted to as a pastor, I had my letter with me. So when I got to the church, everybody was outside. They were using 5-star hotel. Like what? On a Tuesday. They said, thank God we have a pastor. They said, you know, it's a new church that we are not leaving this place because they were away in 6 months. And they locked the auditorium. So one of them said, my mother has a big building. They have a parking lot that we can use. That's okay. So as a young minister, I approached the senior pastor. They went to meet the landlady. The landlady said, well, she's a Christian. She's going to talk to the tenants if they will allow her to host us. So eventually the mama said, okay, we are going to host them. But she said, please, on Sunday, we should do our service. They will pull out their car, very big parking lot.
Right. You told that story.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we shouldn't make noise. And the mama said we can use our living room for our vigils on Friday. Yeah, today the woman is my mother-in-law. Let me put it out, let me shorten it.
Right.
I didn't know my wife from anywhere. She goes to Okote's church.
It's Sokoto. Yes.
Yes.
Christ Embassy, is that?
No.
Which one is that?
That's Oyakilome. I don't remember. Okotie. We know Okotie though. Okotie with the Jericho. This used to be singer, right?
Yes, he goes there. And I was a pastor in Redeem. You know, if you can see, you know, and she's the gym. You know, even me, I'm gym too, but you know, at a certain level. So what I'm trying to bring out from there, even the brother, the senior brother was even a member of my church. They loved me, they like me, they know who I am.
So you have a special type of experience.
But you know what
with
I
this?
want to bring out from there? You know, my wife, even when she was in Polytechnic, she has a car with a driver. She came from a silver spoon, so to speak. Yes, so there are some things you would do and say, what are you even talking about? We don't do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to give an example. It took me 15 years of marriage before I knew that my wife doesn't eat bread and beans.
But Patrick, you're poor deal.
Listen, I'm serious. Because my wife knew that I like bread, I like beans. So she, even in America, she cook when they bring beans,
honey beans. Yeah.
Yes. When I'm in the store, I say, my wife, I'm just coming back from work. I'm in the store. I say, I just cooked there. Can you buy bread? Bro, I never had an idea until one day. My wife said, can you buy plantain for me? I said, yes. I said, what? The thing just occurred to me. What is? He said, don't you know I don't eat better? He said, it's for carpenter. I said, thank God Jesus. Jesus' father was a carpenter.
Carpenter,
How juju be that?
I'm just telling you, you know, that the way she was brought up, you know what I mean? Love, you know, the way they do in their art. My own set table, my whole life wasn't like that. So it depends on understanding.
Understanding.
The challenges.
If you understand these differences are there, maybe you can move a little bit differently.
Yes, like Lola said, she knew that Ola loves him, loves her, right? You know, understand that would go a long way to help them. That love, that commitment is there. You know, despite my status of my wife, I know she loves me. Yes, for her to have said yes. My brother, it's not easy for a woman to say yes.
All right. Yeah.
Let me just.
That's words.
Can I ask something? Can I ask
Yeah.
something
Let me
quick?
get the last word from you, so we can move on to the next topic. Go ahead.
Okay, actually, this is gonna be a question from Lola's experience, right? When it's come to the in-law, right? It might, because I'm trying to figure out, like, either way, like, you want to have the best of the both world. You want to you want to have the best with your husband, and you want to have the best with your in-laws, right? In my situation, my in-law are the best, right? But my ex is an asshole. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, then it's like. At the end of the day, I just get tired of it. Even though I have the best in-law, and I think they play a big role of how far we went in our relationship, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not dealing with all these in-law, no matter how much you guys been nice, right? And I appreciate them, but the person that I'm dealing with is just so that was it for me.
Right.
So it's like, but I like what Lola said, like. In her situation, you protected her. She feels safe with you, right? I feel like it's the opposite for me. I felt safe with my in-law than the person that I married to. Like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? It was a mess.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the in-laws is a powerful ball of energy that comes with your husband, right? So it's helpful, but ultimately you need the husband to be a husband.
Yeah.
Right. You need that there. My parents they're still together after, I don't know, 45 years or so, but they're still together too. But again, when they're just normal human being like the rest of us, there's only so much they know, right? Especially when they're not the husband. You can't ask them to be taking full responsibility of the understanding that's required to be a husband. They can help you. There were things they said to me, but need to have my own head, my own ideas and stuff. Like, there were times I didn't listen because I couldn't connect with how far they could see things, right? So, but particularly, I want people to understand that it's not always these issues, for the most part, in my opinion, is not from a place of wickedness. They are coming from places of weaknesses as human beings. We have tribalistic views. You're not supposed to admit to it. There's certain little things you say. It could be you fighting for your own tribe, and before you know it, you're tribalistic and you didn't realize it. Just in defense, because defense is the same thing as offense. It's just polar opposite, right? But at some point, somebody has to catch themselves and say, this is not helping any one of us. It's not, and it's going to take somebody higher, somebody that's thinking higher than the people fighting tit for tat with each other. It's going to take, and sometimes in a relationship, you're going to need one of those people to do that. To say, she said that karaoke thing. It's not just karaoke. She's moving that way. It's really starting to affect me. But I know that human beings have these tendencies. When they can tag on to something that can be easy to point fingers at, they do that. Because it's easier to point fingers than to stand in front of a mirror and hold yourself accountable. To reflect, right? Or I say, what role am I playing in this? All I have to do is stop the role I'm playing in this, and then there will be an automatic reset, and then we can start building things back up. Because after all, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck with this person,
I really think that.
Let me quickly say this. Allah, there's a proverb that says, "Omo buruku shefe, but I know buruku no sheni."
Yes.
Maybe
That's another
Lola
one.
can help us with that. We didn't pass the question. Yes.
Yeah, Brother Patrick. Yeah, that is real. Omoburuku fair, because over time, someone can, that Omoburuku can evolve to Omodada. Like, you can grow. But Anoburuku, they are stuck in their way. They can also change
because they are not the husband, right?
But
and they're
usually Anoburuku is already older. You know how they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
New tricks, yeah.
It's something of that nature. Yeah. So I feel like it's so hard to change somebody's mind. But young people, they're always open to an extent, right? They tend to be open. Unlike old people, like whatever our kids know today, They probably got some of that from us.
Right.
If they have any stereotype, it's because we've said some
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
to them, which is not right. So that's where that always coming from.
Yeah.
But respective to what Ola
What I was
said
saying.
about, somebody in the relationship should take charge. Sometimes you have two weak people, and you might not
Most
be
of the
able to-
time, that's what we end up with.
Exactly. Two weak people.
Yeah.
What I try to encourage people is when you're married, move with people that are married like you, in the sense that you look up to. How's their relationship? How do they treat each other outside? Sometimes people will tell you it's all fake. But to be honest with you, I know a good number of consistent people who are married,
Right.
they are happily married.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they don't have challenges, but who can help you balance your own relationship up. Like, for a good example is our pastor. He and his wife, the way they roll with each other,
It's
these
just
people
obvious.
are madly in love. They touch each other, they talk about each other. The husband does not talk to women without the wife. The wife does not relate to other without the husband. They have respect for each other. So if you're having issues, those are some of the people you can go to and say, you know what, I'm stuck. They won't attack your marriage.
Right.
Because they want you to
Like
win.
an in-law might attack
your marriage.
because they're
that's
like a
your
big
child.
ball of pride walking around, because again, they're not in the marriage. So what they see is what they see.
Yes.
Especially if their own child is complaining. Especially.
Yes, they'll take their child side.
Right. So
Especially
it's like,
if they don't even like you. How about that?
yeah.
So
Right.
try to find
You already don't feel like
around
they
you.
like you. They're moving in a way that's indicating that they don't like you.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So it's multiple things that I'm saying at the same time. I'm saying, so in-laws in general is a real life walking life pride. Meaning they don't owe
Sister
you.
Umbasi, she has a good in-law.
Right.
Like, that is great for her. But the fact that she had a husband that I bet he doesn't even listen to his mom, because I'm sure the mom tried to interject like, what's going on with
He
you?
doesn't listen to anybody.
Doesn't
He
to
didn't
anybody.
listen.
You know?
Exactly. That's another thing. I'm going to tell you one thing. So I tried men that don't. So I don't like mommy's boy per se, but also respect men who respect their mothers.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
a big
feel
one.
like
Yeah.
if you treat your mom well, you're probably going to treat me very well.
Yeah.
So, because I do have someone else that doesn't like the mother and ended up treating his wife even worse. So there's always small
Yeah,
signs there.
it's case by case. It's
Yeah.
layers to it.
Yeah,
In one
there is layers
respect,
to it.
they don't like their mother. That's a red flag. In the other respect, he can't stay out of his mother's wings. Like, okay, that's a
Right.
mommy's boy. That's a
Yeah.
red flag. It's case by case. It really just depends.
It's a balance that is
Yeah.
needed, to be honest with you. There's no perfect
And can I just
circumstance.
add something really quick? Like at the end of the breaking down of the marriage, right? And as much as I love my in-law and they love me, at the end of it, of course, this is the breaking down of what we thought it was gonna be forever thing, right? Of course, they have to pick him because that is their son,
That's
right?
their
That is their
child.
brother. And I understand that because my people had to pick me too. You know, it's
That's right.
like,
Yeah.
come home, honey. So it's yeah, that's just the way it is. Like,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
I don't think I have any bad thing to say about them, really.
No, that's a beautiful thing.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. And you got kids, so that's even better.
Yeah.
That you have that, So yeah,
Yes, we do.
it's very tricky. I guess in about 10 seconds, tribalism and Nigerian marriages, they're like 5 and 6. There's stuff you need to understand. It's not just in
Do you
politics.
think it's tribalism and Nigerian marriages alone? This thing is all over the
No.
world.
No. I did,
you're
this is just a title.
Oh yeah, be specific.
Tribalism, tribalism at its core, racism at its core, faith, like religious stuff. If you're crossing these dimensional lines, right, those things at their core and marriage are like 5 and 6. They will show up. You need to understand how to handle these things when they do show up. Sometimes it's just somebody being outrightly wicked, like an outrightly wicked in-law, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times It's just a matter of you understanding that these are human behavior, and you don't want to, because whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on it, it will expand. You were going to say something.
For me, I'm a little sensitive when it comes to tribalism, actually, because tribalism is very destructive. It kills. It goes from something small like this to something big. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hotel Rwanda. This is a real life situation of something that happened in Rwanda, between two tribes. Look at how so many people were killed. That's how bad tribalism is. And it's something that needs to be shut down. I don't even want to hear it. To me, we're all Nigerians. We're one. I don't care where you're from. You're my
Here's
brother.
the issue/question for you.
Sister.
What are the chances that it will be shut down?
Well, it starts from one person to another.
What are the chances?
For me right now, I'm all for we're all one. I don't care where you come from.
Right.
Love is love.
Right.
That's me.
So are you saying we have a better chance of the way you just express it, right? Are you saying we have a better chance of educating people why we must see ourselves as one than trying to shut down? Because again, when you say shut down tribalism, what it means to people is different from people to people. Some people will say Yoruba nation, the other person say one Nigeria. And to them is both, this is just how they express it.
No, Yoruba nation is also tribalism. I'm sorry to say. If you're thinking that way, then you're not a Nigerian.
Some people say, we could never walk. We can't walk. Will they walk? Stop acting. And this is their reasons why they want that. Like, we've seen enough to say it's not going to work.
It breeds war. And what does war bring?
What brings war?
Tribalism.
Which one? Which type of it? The one that says Yoruba nation or
no more. From the small one, it can get big and it can get so big that you can't control it. And it becomes a disaster. And that's what we don't want.
Which one? The one that says one Nigeria?
And
continue Ashwaju? Or Yoruba nation?
I'm always a one Nigerian person. How about that? Regardless of who is there. I might not like who's there, but I'm still in favor of us being united as a nation.
Are you aware that somebody's interpreting that as tribalism?
That's not tribalism. They need to explain themselves.
Your opinion?
In my opinion, it's not.
All right.
You try to throw me under the bus.
I refuse to talk about politics today, but the point I made is basically me trying to explain like how people interpret these things is different from people to people, right?
I understand that.
As much as you're on one side, the other person is on the other side, offense, defense, they think and they're like effectively they're doing what we're trying to avoid, right? As opposed to one conversation at a time like this. I am always actively looking for a way where we can align, right? Some people in this conversation, yes, like I'm searching. Like there's something you're saying that I agree with, right? Some people are more inclined once they hear something that triggers them, they fire right back and they say, "No, you're wrong." Right? They shut down.
You know what I call them? I'm sorry to say, they are walking time bombs. There's nothing you can say. They'll be triggered. Anyway.
So it doesn't matter what side they're on. They're just
it doesn't matter.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one. Shout out to Brother Patrick and Sister Embassy hanging out with us there, making the conversations a lot more sweeter.